believe the stars, the moon and sun are all part of a divine cosmos, a solar system within a galaxy of countless galaxies which form a universe. This is what you have been told in your schools. This is what you see in your movie theaters. You were deceived. The sun, moon, and stars you see by day and by night do not exist in outer space. They exist within the airs of this world. Every secret of the skies above exists within the earth itself. And now you are about to witness the impossible become possible. You are surrounded by invisible spheres everywhere right at this moment. And they are just as small as an atom, and some are as large as the earth itself. Human eyes rarely see them, but under the right angles, the right temperatures, and the right degree of lighting, they have been seen on rare occasions. And children are the lucky ones who see the magic of the spheres throughout the summer months in their own backyards. Do you remember the fun you had as a child just blowing bubbles from a bubble wand or running through a sprinkler? When you blew a simple bubble from a bubble wand, you would see the skin of the bubble produced colors, just like a rainbow. When you jumped through a water sprinkler, you could see a small rainbow effect in the waters jetting out of the sprinkler. And on rainy days, you see an array of colors in very large bubbles called rainbows. From an atom to a rainbow, and as large as the earth itself, the whole of this world is surrounded by transparent spheres, both small and large. And it is these invisible spheres that are responsible for all of your visual perceptions within the earth. To understand the spheres better, just visualize 4 glass soup bowls being covered by just one larger glass soup bowl. Then visualize 4 sets of the large bowls, each with 4 small bowls underneath, now being covered under another even bigger glass soup bowl. Then keep repeating this process until the last glass soup bowl is the size of the earth. The term mirage says it all. Take a ride on a ferry across the sea, and under the right lighting, you might see a curious image. Above the horizon of the waters, you might see reflections of a land above water, even when there is really nothing there. This is a reflection from within the spheres, and as you get closer, the reflection disappears. One term for this mirage is nicknamed a fatamorgana. These mirages can be seen on land, sea, or even in the desert, with or without the assistance of binoculars. When you use binoculars at a sporting event, you can increase or decrease the magnification of the players by adjusting the lenses. And the spheres that surround your world can do the same. And in fact, they do so daily. You have seen this lens effect of the spheres magnify the image of the sun and moon every single day. This will help you to finally understand what your top scholars refer to as the sun and moon illusion. The moon and the sun seem so large as they rise and as they set. Yet they get so much smaller when they are high up in the airs. The spheres magnify the sun and the moon at low altitudes, and then do the opposite as the sun and the moon reach higher altitudes. This visual perception is created by the invisible spheres that surround you. These spheres can also be seen in the form of sun halos and moon halos. And ironically, the halos which are seen forming around the sun and the moon are always measured to be identically 22 degrees in appearance. The ultimate evidence that confirms you are surrounded by spheres is called the triple sun effect. The triple sun effect, or sundog, is seen as an illusion of three suns appearing within the arc of a sphere. This same effect occurs with the moon, and is also named a moondog. Only the spheres that are seen in rainbows, halos, and sundogs explain the reason why the sun and moon become larger or smaller, or why mirages occur on land and sea. There is a reason the secret of the spheres has been hidden from the human race all along, and that is to maintain a worldwide deception that goes sky high. It is time for you to discover the secret behind the grand design of this grand illusion. The words I speak in the next 3 minutes are going to shock you to the core. In only 3 minutes from now, you are going to know the greatest deception ever created on Earth since the foundation of Earth's creation. And you're going to know that the greatest secret ever hidden from you was you. Listen up. There are 3 fields that form the Earth. The ground surface is the lowest field, where the magic of the physical world is animated into existence. The second field is found in the mid-level, where clouds transit through the skies every day. The midfield is charged by energy, which in turn is redistributed to the field below. In simple terms, weather conditions, activities, and patterns are all influenced by the conditions at ground level, and vice versa. The field where clouds exist also acts as a mediator between the field below and the highest field above. You have wrongfully been trained to believe the highest field is called outer space. The highest field exists within the Earth, not beyond the Earth. The highest field above distributes the light to the midfield, which in turn redistributes the light as energy to the lowest field on the surface. The 3 fields all bind together, and what binds them together into one ecosystem is the magic of the spheres. Spheres from small to large are all connected with one another, and they transfer information instantly. You know this to be true. You can see the evidence every day on wireless laptops and television screens. You can hear the evidence every day on your radios and cell phones. All of these devices instantly receive and transfer both sounds and images through the interconnected spheres that make up the airs you breathe. The secret of all visual and sound perceptions you experience while awake or while you're dreaming is found in the spheres. Just as the Internet of the Earth can instantly display movies on your television screens and computer screens, so does the Internet of the Earth instantly display dreams to you in your sleep. The fields above and below are bound to one another by design. So the dream world is mirrored by the physical world. As it was once stated in the Bible in the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 18, "Whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever ye shall loose on earth shall be loosened in heaven." The earth is a biodome. It is a creatively designed ecosystem where every atom is used and recycled to maintain the continuation of physical life. So the atoms that exist within the earth to form your body are the same atoms that form a loaf of bread. They are redistributed into a shared environment. You can literally say your body and the bread are as one. You are the energy that fuels existence within this earth, and energy itself is born from light. The true source of energy that lights up the earth is found in the highest field above. The highest field above traps and redistributes light to the fields below. The trap above uses light to energize the lights you see in the skies above. The trap you were taught to believe was a universe is truly a field of pure dark energy that traps light energy. And you best be believing in the trap of dark energy above. After all, it trapped you You are that light energy, and you will know this very soon. Your true being is not the short-lived, aging body you created from just an atom. Your true being is the light energy that energizes this earth. This is the reason why the lords of religions were so insistent that the humans would not worship the lights of the heavens. This is why you are told the skies are a vast universe of nothing but darkness and mystery. The greatest worldwide deception is about you. The greatest secret on this earth is you. You are that secret. And keeping you hypnotized to a trance of lies was the greatest deception ever invented. Your human body is composed of the earth, but the true you that created and animates your human body now is light energy. The real you is animating your human body from the energy fields above the surface. This might sound like a fairy tale, but the fairy tales were real, and so is this message. You exist in a realm ruled by dark energy that traps light energy under a dark blanket of deception. You give life to the earth as well as the human body you believe to be you. The time to break free comes soon, after this current life is over. Speaking figuratively, you have just experienced a ride on a roller coaster, so to speak. You have reached the top, and now you can see what is down below. To protect your human psyche from the fear of crashing, I will bring you back to the ground gently, so to speak. Everything you have just learned is absolutely overwhelming for you, but now it is all about to finally make sense to you, once and for all. You exist in a realm that hypnotizes you upon entry to accept this world as the only place of existence you can imagine. You coexist with other beings of light energy, who as well are in a trance of accepting human concepts, rituals, and games of make-believe. Every one of you is attached to the environments of your human bodies and the human world. In order for me to break the spell of hell, so to speak, I need to show you just how the terrarium called Earth is designed to operate just like clockwork. The world you exist in is 100%, obviously a designed environment. Just as the clock has gears, so does the Earth have spheres. This environment you exist in is a creation, and nothing is created without a purpose. So ask yourself, what is the true purpose of the Earth? Why was this place developed? And who or what created this realm? Your answer is you're speechless. That answer comes at the end of this video. I will now prove to you how the Earth is truly designed. Your maps are wrong. Your globes are wrong. And your awareness of portals that connect the Earth to other worlds, or even the world below, needs to be understood. I will pull back the curtains so you can see the lizards pretending to be wizards. And yes, I was being sarcastic. So you have been told your world is a round globe. And from this illusion, scholars calculate the world is spinning at over 1,000 miles per hour. As I said earlier, the base platform is a deception. So all of the other bricks of information added will create the pyramid of lies. It is the spheres within the Earth that create the visual perception that even little towns seemed curved in appearance. Naturally, the higher one gets into the airs above, the same spheres will continue to create the same curved illusion. The Earth's surface is a flat parallel field within a sphere. It is not a globe. Only in a world of deceit can an organized plan to keep the masses of humans oblivious to the obvious occur. For children's sake, the word oblivious means unaware. The globe illusion is impossible. The oceans would never hold together no more than the buildings on land. The gravity theory is nonsense. The gravity required to hold the waters of the oceans in place would also pull every boat, big and small, to the core below instantly. And as for a spinning globe revolving over 1,000 miles per hour, ridiculous. A simple jump from a parachute out of a plane confirms the lie. Parachuting is regulated by designated drop zones, which could not be achieved if the Earth was spinning around over 1,000 miles per hour. The human parachuting would end up in another town completely, far from the designated airport structure they are regulated to land in. The ground level surface of the Earth is a flat parallel field. The midfield of energy distribution where the clouds travel also runs parallel, and so does the highest field where all light is distributed also run parallel. Recognizing the flatness of these three parallel fields, as well as the perceptions of curvature created by the spheres, will help you to now see how the Earth is truly designed as a dome, from top to bottom. Now this is going to excite you, so let's start at the top. I will concentrate on just giving you evidence that the skies you see high above exist within the Earth, and are not beyond the Earth. From here you will see the highest field, the midfield, and low field. They are all part of one intricate design, just like clockwork. Many humans watch the sun and the moon rise from the east, and then go north, and then settle to the west. However, some humans get to watch the sun or the moon rise from the east, and then go to the south, before finally settling in the west. Your visual perception of whether the sun and the moon transits to the north or to the south all depends on what side of the Earth you live in. Furthermore, depending on what side of the Earth you are in, the craters of the so-called moon are upside down in comparison to what the humans see on the opposite side of the Earth. Now you are about to completely understand why. The moon and sun spheres generally travel down the center of the highest field. For easier understanding, to make what you are hearing crystal clear, the spheres of the moon and the sun travel down the center of a grid. To understand the design of the skies above, you will need to recognize it is patterned along a grid system. Then the secret veil of the skies magically unfold before your eyes. The grid of the skies is evident in the fact the positions of the moon, sun, or stars can be predicted daily, monthly, and yearly. They all follow a pattern just like clockwork. And this also confirms the highest field above is a creation by design within the Earth itself. Theories of cosmic coincidences between the sun and the moon working together perfectly in outer space, all due to a cosmic fluke, is just plain ridiculous. Every human can plainly see the evidence of the clockwork in the sun and the moon spheres. The two spheres follow a perfect design along a grid system within the Earth twice a year. The absolute evidence that the sun and the moon are part of a grid system is confirmed in two seasonal solstices, which occur on the first day of summer and the first day of winter. And what is a solstice? It is a reference to the sun, basically meaning the longest or shortest day of sunshine in the year. The sun sphere repeats the same pattern over and over again, every year after year, just like clockwork. Have you ever heard of polar days and polar nights? They only occur in the so-called north or south polar circles. Hence they are named polar days and polar nights. Simply put, a polar night of all-day darkness lasts up to 1 month for a city, and a polar day of all-day sunlight lasts in a city for up to 2 months or more, every year. Coincidentally, the polar day, also called the midnight sun event, happens in the North Pole only during the summer solstice, while to the opposite, the polar day occurs in the south only during the winter solstice, just like clockwork. I do not want to confuse children here, so I need to make this simpler. What was just explained is that the exact same polar event occurs on opposite sides of the world during opposite solstice seasons, just like clockwork. And finally, both polar regions of the Earth experience their solstices at the same time, but the seasons are completely opposite. The North Pole experiences the summer solstice during the summer, and the winter solstice during the winter. However, it is the total opposite for the South Pole, as the summer solstice occurs during the winter, and the winter solstice occurs during the summer, just like clockwork. The moon reaches a high and low level in the skies every 2 weeks. And the moon also reaches its highest position within the year during the winter solstice, while reaching its lowest position of the year during the summer solstice. However, the sun only reaches a high and low level during the two solstices. The sun and the moon follow a formula that is perfectly connected with the formula of the Earth, just like clockwork. Now I'll make this as simple as possible for you to understand the next evidence of clockwork and design along a grid system, known as a solar eclipse. Since the event called a lunar eclipse has nothing to do with the sun, I will focus only on the solar eclipse. The so-called lunar event, where the moon seems to glow red, occurs for the same reason the moon can turn harvest gold, or why the clouds in the sky sometimes appear red. It is an atmospheric reflection, no different than the rainbow. As for partial or full solar eclipses, they can generally be predicted long in advance, which again confirms a pattern of design. This confirms the spheres of the sun and the moon both crisscross along the center of a grid system within the Earth itself. When the sun crisscrosses the center of the grid to the north or south, this also creates the yearly solstices and polar days. And as they crisscross along the center, the sphere of the moon sometimes overlaps the sphere of the sun, just like clockwork. Ironically, the sphere of the sun never overlaps the sphere of the moon, and for a damn good reason. If the sun did overlap the moon, a great deception would be revealed when humans could still see the moon craters within the sun. They would know the sun is hollow. The reason for polar days and nights, as well as solstices and eclipses, are all due to the crisscross pattern of the sun traveling across the center grid. The Earth is not a spinning globe tilted on an axis of roughly 23 degrees. But in fact, the grid way above is positioned 23 degrees off the center of what is referred to as the equator. The clockwork of the sun and the moon prove the high field above exists within the Earth itself. It is the spheres within the Earth that give the visual perception of the sun and the moon rising or setting along the low points of the arc within the spheres. Prolonged film exposure of the starry constellations above as well today reveals another big secret and confirmation that the lights above do exist within the Earth. When stars are filmed over long periods of time, the amazing pattern you will see is a sphere, as though they exist inside of a dome. These pictures, termed star trails, confirm the design of the Earth is a composition of invisible spheres creating the lenses of perception, and also confirm the stars in the sky follow a perfect pattern, as do the sun and the moon, just like clockwork. And this leads to the secret of the magic mirror down the center of the grid in the highest field above, which creates the best illusions of refraction inside the Earth, including twinkling little stars. For children, refraction simply means a redirection of light, to keep it simple. The sun and moon refractions are also part of a mirror maze. To help you visualize a simple illusion, I want you to visualize a maze of mirrors in a gymnasium. Every mirror is positioned at slight angles so a light can rebound from mirror to mirror throughout the gymnasium. Switch on the flashlight and every other human in the gymnasium wrongly assumes the mirror in front of them is the true source of the light reflecting towards them. Now you have a mirror maze. Now watch this hidden secret of the magic mirror unfold before your eyes. The star constellations from both sides of the poles both revolve around a central star. In simple terms, the clusters of star constellations in the south revolve in their own circular pattern, and the clusters of star constellations to the north also revolve in their own circular pattern. They both mirror the same exact pattern. For those of you who have seen the wonders of the auroras in the skies, here is a real mirror trick you didn't know existed. Only recently did some human beings researching the auroras from the North Pole and the South Pole discover an amazing secret. The aurora phenomenon is a mirrored event from both the South Pole and the North Pole at the same time. The secret is found high above along the center of the grid, where a reflective atmosphere creates this mirror effect. Some humans have recorded the dancing aurora lights, but some humans have recorded a true refraction mirage of the skies. Under the right lighting and angles, some humans have managed to record the clouds floating behind the sun or the moon. And this is caused by the interaction of the invisible spheres that connect between the midfield of the clouds and the high field above. You see refraction in spheres when you look at a rainbow. Sometimes you see rainbow halos around lakes, or in the steam of the airs above, which is today termed as a glory halo. The magic of the spheres within the airs you breathe exist everywhere, in all sizes. And this is why humans sometimes find an array of little orbs in their pictures. The lights transiting along the grid in the highest field above are not always where or as large as you believe them to be. And you can prove this by simply taking a picture of a full moon or a supermoon. The moon will come out very small in the picture. This once again confirms the so-called sun and moon illusions are truly a result of the spheres within the earth causing the magnifications of your depth perceptions. The final evidence that the spheres of the sun and the moon exist within the highest field of the earth itself is proven by exposing an obvious lie. The main belief is that the moon receives and reflects light from the sun in outer space. We'll say goodbye to that ridiculous theory once and for all. The moon is seen in the nightly skies for half of the month, but it is also seen in the blue skies of the day for half of the month. During the daytime, when the moon is seen parallel to the sun, it is still in a crescent. Since the sun and the moon are both round, then obviously the whole full moon would be fully lit by the direct exposure of the fully round sun. But it is not. The crescent moon has its own source of light, and that light is generated within the Earth's high field. Game over. And for any human wondering about planets, that concept, as well as a major part of the pyramid of deception. I will tell you what the so-called planets really are, and it should be obvious, with the recent images of what is called Saturn. The hexagon of Saturn is also similar to the less advanced high-atmosphere telescopes built by humans today. What human beings are really seeing from behind the telescopes is ancient satellite systems, and this is why they move independently of the sun, the moon, and the stars. These ancient satellites have been camouflaging themselves in the highest field as bright stars throughout history. Even the moon, as it is called, is part of a deception for these satellite systems. The reflection of the moon is a magnification of another satellite system. Those who have carefully studied the sphere of the moon have seen various reflection anomalies. They term them as transient lunar phenomena. The human race has also positioned their own technologies in the sky that are also reflective. And ironically, those are also called satellites. It is well known that the only lights high above that can form crescents are what you call planets and the moon. The size of the moon satellite is a perception based on a deception called magnification. Although a small satellite is being magnified into the sphere, magnifying the satellite as the moon, it is the sphere that is doing the magnification which is truly hollow. After all, if the moon was a physical object, it would have as much chance of disappearing 1 day per month as a building in your downtown cities. A simple way to learn how the crescents form and how the moon magically disappears is to find a glass ball, then tint half black and leave the other half transparent. Then place a plate inside on spindles so the plate does not move and start spinning the glass ball. And of course, you make sure you have a light inside the base so the plate is illuminated. You will see the moon effect in action on your new lunar alarm clock. You really need to hear this. The spheres of the moon, the sun, as well as the stars along the grid are all part of a holographic grid system. A holograph is a hollow design that is encoded along a grid and then formed by light. No space research center has a chance of sending humans to land on the hollow sphere of the moon any more than they have a chance of landing a human on a sundog, a moon halo, or a rainbow.